It can be a challenge for small governments to get funding for maintaining their infrastructure. Crystal Quao looks at how small communities come up with funding for some expensive municipal projects.
Throughout the northwestern and central region of North Dakota, roads and bridges help drivers get to their destination. Glenburn Auditor Donna Zeltinger says, aside from city taxes, getting states and federal funds to repair streets is difficult.
Most of the money goes to cities that are over 10,000, so it's really hard to keep up our streets.
The demand is high for infrastructure improvements within the Flexible Transportation Fund program. Assistant Rural Local Government Engineer for North Dakota Department of Transportation, Brandon Bizey, says an estimated $43 million is available for non-oil producing counties, towns, and tribes.
We got 264 applications. They requested over $430 million from us.
Bizey says projects are ranked depending on their types. He says interstates tend to need more money than rural township roads. Zeltinger says Glenburn may be contending with its population and its location when it comes to getting grants.
Our streets are our worst money to try to get for. There's usually a lot of money for water replacement, sewer replacement, stuff like that.
With so many projects in the balance and not enough funds to go around, Bizey says the department added several agencies to help with the decision making. He says they want to make sure smaller communities also get the resources they need.
Hopefully we can improve upon the system and help them out, upgrading or changing our application process, making it easier for the locals to compete for.
He says with the Flex Fund, they're able to help towns more than in the past. In Minot, I'm Crystal Quao reporting for your news leader.
Now, Bizey says the committee within the North Dakota Department of Transportation is in their final stage, and Flex Fund recipients will find out at a later date.